Hello, hello, good people. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Vaughn. Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm so happy that you're here. I appreciate you coming to the page. Okay, so down below you have the correct spelling of my name. Oh, please, first of all, subscribe to the page. Go ahead and hit that right now. Like, share any of the videos, anything that piques your interest, incites some, critical thinking, or you might want to use one of the episodes to incite some conversation amongst you, family members, etc. Please bring them to the page. Down below, you have the correct spelling of my name. You have my IG information, and you also have my Cash App information down below if you'd like to support the channel. All right, let's talk about Karmelo Anthony. Let's talk about this Karmelo Anthony case, and I'm going to take my time with this one. The case with the Mr. Chow. But let's talk about Karmelo Anthony first. Here's what I found out over this week. And here's why I personally say that I believe that number one, there needs to be a change in venue. And also he should be granted another trial, like a completely new trial. So number one, which has already been discussed, you probably have already seen, the jury of his peers was not a jury of his peers. Apparently, the jury was completely Caucasian and of a certain age, mostly older folks from the area. It is my understanding that there's only 12% Black people in this area. And there were also 3 Black people who were considered for the jury, but were cut because they were teachers, which is odd because I think that teachers could be objective or have the ability to be objective, even though, they might be, high school teacher, et cetera, but they were cut from the jury. So he ended up with a jury of all Caucasian people. Other information that has come out this week is that there was a photo released when it gone around social media of the father, the Metcalf twins' father, and the judge in the same picture. Looks like some sort of party. So clearly they are familiar. We don't know how close, but they are familiar with one another. That's highly problematic. This judge should have recused himself from the case, especially if they have some sort of personal relationship. So that's another reason why I say that he should be granted another trial. Since the trial has been, let me not do that first. So the father, the parents were somehow, they haven't said directly from whom, but they were coerced or convinced to go with specific attorneys. And these attorneys apparently were Caucasian as well. Not saying that Caucasian attorneys cannot do a good job, but we know how some people run game. And especially if you're talking about a small town or a small county, I could totally see how all these people were in cahoots with one another. And they said, hey, somebody on the inside said, hey, the way to win this case in this county is if you have white attorneys. And these are some good ones. But the ones that they were directed to, and I'm going to get into why I think this, the ones that they were directed towards or to did not have Karmelo's best interest, whether that was them not doing their fucking job, or they were at this damn party too. They just didn't happen to be in the photo. They're all in cahoots with one another. So that's another thing. His representation was, I don't know. I don't know, but somebody needs to explore what actually happened in that courtroom, because I'm not understanding why they wouldn't bring information. There were community members that had spoken out about how the entire family, the entire Metcalf family, were just bullies. There was a mom that's on video talking about the fact that she was bullied out of her seats, I'm assuming at a football game, by the parents at a football game for the twins. There were other community members that talked about the twin boys being bullies. There's an email from a cheerleader talking about an incident that occurred in a restaurant after a game. And one of the twins, can't remember if it was Hunter or Austin, said that his fists are bisexual, that I have no problem with punching either men or women, girls or boys, and how she and others felt threatened. So there was all this information out there, but his defense team didn't introduce this information. And now I've also found out, because I believe those three jurors that were dismissed, they were shown a video, they were shown footage before they were dismissed of the incident. And then the footage of that incident was not used within the trial. And I don't understand how that could happen, other than the judge saying he wouldn't allow it. Now, why would the judge say that? Why would the judge do that if the jurors were already exposed to this information? So I saw this video, Black woman, Black man's nodding along, Black woman's explaining that she chose, like, she had the option of watching the 11-minute video, or I think a shorter video that was surrounded right around the incident. She chose the longer video. She said that she saw a whole group of boys, about 6 of them, coming from the football field and coming up to this tent. And then they go under the tent. Well, she said 2 branched off, 4 went under the tent. And she said, then you just see this commotion, and you see Karmelo exit out of the back of the tent, but he's pulled back in by apparently one of these boys by his hoodie. They still have hold of his hoodie. So they pull him back. He's trying to get away, and he's pulled back in. And then he tries to get away again. So the second time is when he actually gets away and is able to get to his track bag. But by the time he gets pulled back under this tent, she said there are other, how many? I think she said it was another 3 boys that were coming down the bleachers to come to the tent. So the way she makes this video sound, it looks like he was ganged up on by damn near 10 kids. And then she says after the incident occurred, Hunter comes from underneath the tent, and there was no, I don't know. No, she said there was no, you couldn't see any emotion. You couldn't see him trying to get to his brother, or any kind of breakdown about his brother being harmed or hurt or anything like that. You didn't see any of that from Hunter. And the same thing I noted. So also what has happened, what has come out or been released, is the father went on TikTok and did these videos, racist videos on TikTok. And there were several things that I noted. First of all, it was racist. He named or tried to name or call Karmelo Watermelon Mellow or some bullshit like that. So it was a whole racist rant. And then mid rant, he talks about what would justice look like for him. And he said justice for him would look like his son, Austin, walking through the door and giving him a hug. Number one, I saw no tearing up, no sadness, no nothing, no feelings for this son in anything he was saying. And even when he is referencing what justice would look like for him, he still had no emotional response to what he was even saying about the possibility of his son walking back through the door and giving him a hug. No emotional change whatsoever. So honestly, I think that the apples didn't fall far from the tree. I really believe that's what we're looking at. You had 2 twin boys, and I believe with the community, it was more than one community. It was several community members. There were students at the school who were afraid of these boys. The people in the community were afraid of the whole damn family. And it really appears, if this woman, what this woman is saying on this video, and then also, number one, okay, so the judge made it inadmissible in court, this video, But also, how come the public hasn't seen any of this footage? Why are the police withholding this footage? Why at this late, it's been over a year. Why hasn't this been released? If there is this whole video of everything that happened, why is all this information being withheld? So yeah, there's a lot of shit that's wrong with this case. And let me say this, I should have prefaced this whole conversation with this. I don't believe that anyone, any kid, I feel for both families. No one should have died. Okay, no one should have died. Um, and this is another thing. This brings me to another point. When I was watching a video and a discussion with Jasmine Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett, and there were some other attorneys on this call. Did y'all know that there was only one puncture wound? And what he actually got out of his bag is being described as like a pocket knife, like, you know, the kind that has all the different utensils on it that you can flip up. That's what it was described as, not as like a butcher knife or anything like that. Yes, and I know that can be considered a weapon. I understand that. But something that is done out of malice or premeditated, you're going to have several different wounds. Like it's going to be the person is not going to stop, or some crime out of passion, the person's not going to stop. He stopped with just the one wound, which I think personally, now none of us were under this tent. I don't think the video that this woman even discussed showed anything under this tent. But I just imagine, you know, something, you know, you're in this very emotional state, you're being attacked by several people, and you're just trying to defend yourself. And when you defend yourself, being startled by the fact that, oh my God, you know, what just happened? Because there's only one puncture wound. It wasn't like, you know, like, get off me, stay off me. It wasn't that. It was one puncture wound. And he bled out. Austin bled out, and then he died. So, y'all, there's so many dynamics to this case. I believe that we don't know. I believe there's so many dynamics to this case that were deemed inadmissible by this judge, who appears to be a friend of the Metcalf family. There's information that even came out about the DA. This is just a side note. The DA apparently has been under investigation for sexually harassing the interns and the women who work in his office. Like, it's a mess. It's an entire mess. So honestly, I'm going to keep following up on this. I know that, what's her name? Dr. Candace Matthews and some folks out of Houston, Quanell X, et cetera, have gotten together like a list of attorneys for Karmelo Anthony's parents to select other new attorneys and file an appeal. So it is my understanding that they are going to file an appeal, and they're allowing them to choose the attorneys themselves, and they don't want to drive them in any direction like they were previously done. But they have provided a list of great attorneys, apparently out of Texas, who could handle this case, and they're going to file the appeal. But again, you know, a judge has to approve an appeal. But there's no way that I see 35 years out of all the information that has come out about this case. There's no way. And the jury had the opportunity to give him involuntary manslaughter or manslaughter, which were lesser charges, like I think up to 10 years. There's also an not exact. There's a case, a very similar case out of the state of Texas, which should have set precedents, because the kid was 17, the kid stabbed another kid, another classmate, and he, white kid, only got 10 years. But Karmelo gets 35? What? So, yes, I am praying and hoping that, you know, they get another team together and Karmelo is granted a new case, a completely new trial, and that they have a change of venue Because if you can't find a jury of peers out of this county or town, and because this case is so big and you can't get any unbiased opinions out of these people, then there should be a change of venue. Move it to Dallas County, move it to Tarrant County, move the case somewhere else. But I hope and pray that he gets another opportunity. He gets this appeal, it goes through, they get another team. There's other side information about the family. There was money that was raised for the family, how the money was spent, etc. I don't know much details about that, but what I do know is if their defense attorney, whomever they hired, if their defense attorney didn't try to introduce all this information, these videos, these statements from community members, this email from the cheerleader, there was something else that the attorneys did. Oh, initially, and I even saw this when it actually happened. Initially, right after the incident, Hunter went in front of the cameras and talked about the fact that he was one of the first ones under the tent. His brother came in later. So Hunter made it sound like he was one of the instigators. He was one of the first students that went under the tent after Karmelo. But his brother just so happened to be the one who ended up dying, getting killed. So horrible, horrible case. The child case, horrible, horrible. I believe I'm not going to say what I believe about Mr. Child, but, you know, karma is a bitch that doesn't forget. I'm just going to say that. But yeah, I'm going to be praying for Karmelo, that Karmelo gets a new trial in a new venue and everything is done properly. And, that will be that. All right. I will keep you updated on this case. Talk to everybody soon.